polio just starts creeping back into our
it's already
normal
coming
daily
back.
lives.
Like polio's coming back. Tuberculosis is coming back. Yeah.
Tuberculosis. What is this? The coal age?
Consumption's coming back.
1875.
Melancholy.
My lamp is fucking whale oil.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Ew.
Yeah, I mean that's where we're headed.
black
We're
lung.
getting like what's gonna come back:
Holy
diphtheria,
shit,
diphtheria, tuberculosis, polio, all these diseases that like died out in the 20s and 30s and 40s, right?
Oh my god, man, dude! FDR is rolling in his fucking grave right now.
Yeah.
Before we get to the video, please like, comment, subscribe, share it to that uncle who's a communist. And if he isn't, he will be.
Don't forget to follow us on Patreon at patreon.com/revolutionary rhetoric. And Revolutionary Rhetoric is an affiliate of the Anti-Capitalist Podcast Network.
All right, let's get to the video. We're here to bring you back another episode.
No, glad things are okay. Yeah, I know we were a little scared when you randomly just had to leave. We're like, oh, I hope everything's okay.
Yeah, I scurried off. I got to watch the rest of the episode while I was editing, so that was an interesting situation. I don't think I've ever had to do that before.
Yeah, I had to do that once before with Green and Red, so it's interesting to just like watch your whatever.
Your own show without yourself.
Your own show without you.
Yeah. But
so
if you
everybody's
want to
okay.
listen to that episode, I'll link it below.
Yeah, and for everybody else, welcome back. So that's why we were remote. And if you're only listening to the audio version, then that was a waste of your time. But that's okay. You can have your time wasted. You'll be all right. You'll survive. We got a couple good things today. Kind of some smaller stuff with Trump's cabinet picks. More bizarre picks coming out of that. Some more strange things happening with American electoral politics, but then
apparently Tyler is Nostradamus. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Listen, I was talking to some. Well, let's wait till we get to the cabinet picks.
Yeah.
But I have some because like the Matt Gaetz thing isn't over, and I have some ideas about the whole Matt Gaetz thing.
Do you want to start off with the cabinet picks?
Yeah, let's just jump there now. So there's been there's a whole rash of cabinet picks. Dr. Oz is now the like deputy health whatever. He's in charge of Medicare and Medicaid. I think it's part of the
dude.
He'll be working under RFK Jr. I guess. Like he's like deputy secretary to whatever Health and Human Services, and his purview will be Medicare and Medicaid, which is fucking so bizarre.
But I don't know what point of a dystopian capitalist society we have arrived to. What's kind of society we have become when Mehmet Oz, a celebrity fucking voodoo doctor chosen by Oprah, is now is now running the government like Medicare and Medicaid.
Like he does have an MD, so like he is a doctor technically. It's not like Dr. Phil, where like it's like Dr. Phil has like I don't know,
Dr. Phil.
I think it's like a PhD in botany or something. But Dr. Oz, I'm gonna pull up his credentials here.
The thing is, like, he's even if he has the medical license,
he was a
to
thoracic
himself
surgeon,
a doctor,
cardiothoracic surgeon at Columbia. So he's like he's no. That's not fucking around. Like he you know what I mean. He was like a legit surgeon at like a pretty prestigious institution.
That's nice and all, but it's just like at the end of the day, he sold snake oil to fucking people who are.
I don't know why I'm like defending Oz.
Yeah, they're yearning to cure themselves of whatever they had. Basically, just picking on fucking poor people that trying to come up with a remedy for their life problems, just selling them snake oil. And it's fucking sad. Now this guy is literally running Medicare and Medicaid, or could be running Medicare and Medicaid. And I feel like you don't even have to be a doctor to run Medicare or Medicaid. That's more of like a bureaucracy thing, Like I feel like for the Department of Health, like where RFK is, that would be more suitable for an actual doctor, a scientist, a doctor, something like that. But like for running like a bureaucratic.
What is basically an insurance company? I mean, Medicare. It's strange. I'm just reading about that. Do you know he has dual citizenship with Turkey? I knew he was Turkish, but he has dual citizenship.
I'm not surprised.
And he served in the Turkish military in the 1980s.
Wow.
He grew up in Delaware, went to Harvard, and then like after that, he had to go back to Turkey to serve 60 days in the military. Apparently, it's part of like if you want to retain dual citizenship with Turkey, you have to just volunteer for their military for like 2 months.
So we have foreign soldiers directly
Hmm.
in our executive branch of our.
Yep. Once more onto the breach. More foreign soldiers being allowed in the
Another
government.
one.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah.
Um,
That was
I
in
don't
the
know,
80s.
man.
That was 40 years ago. So or
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm just messing.
Yeah.
I really don't care that much.
yeah,
about
that doesn't really bother me so much. I mean, Turkey's kind of an authoritarian. That's Erdogan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, during the 80s, it wasn't.
Yeah, I guess during the 80s it wasn't, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just strange that he's a weird snake oil, like you put it, snake oil salesman that's kind of now in charge of like legit, like the Medicare and Medicaid is like, I mean, how many people does that service? Like hundreds of or tens
Literally.
of millions? Yeah, like
Literally, so many people, man.
yeah, that's
So
a
many people, and when you
huge-
have a snake oil salesman trying to take care of a department like that, that just gives me the clue that they're trying to actually basically abort.
yeah, they're
these
gonna
things.
probably, I would imagine, cut quite a bit of that, right? I mean, that's always been a chopping block thing of like libertarian and like this kind of like the deregulation Republicans is to kind of cut
Well,
Social
just put
Security,
somebody in there
cut
to
Medicare.
like not be able to like properly structure and properly run a department like that, and then the
Yeah.
Republicans are going to basically turn around and be like, "Look, the government in her insurance, it's not efficient. We need to get rid of it, and have everybody do private insurance." They're going to go back to that fucking old school Obamacare, what used to be Romney Care.
Yeah. So, yeah,
And
what
just,
was Romney Care then became Obamacare, which is now back to, well, I
Romney
guess it's now it's just
Trump Care.
dead.
It's going to be
Trump
Trump.
Care.
We're going to get Trump Care.
Trump
Everybody's
Care.
going to get Trump Care.
Yeah.
AKA, you're forced to buy insurance at gunpoint.
Yeah, and $800 a month, $900 a month for like the worst, like co-pays, worst premiums.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to talk about Linda McMahon a little bit? Department of Education
Dude,
pick.
yeah. So I didn't know even this person existed.
I didn't know
until
she existed either.
a few days ago. So if McMahon sounds vaguely familiar, you might have been a wrestling
Fan and
a wrestling fan when you were a lot younger, or even now. I don't know.
I mean, I was, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Middle school, I
Yeah.
was all about like Triple H and Undertaker and whatever.
Oh yeah, exactly. And John Cena's you can't fucking see me.
Well, that was a little bit after my time. Like The Rock and Cena was like, because
that was not. Oh yeah, you're old as shit. I forgot you.
I'm 10 years older than you, so I'm like one generation of wrestling.
This guy was
behind
watching
you.
Andre the Giant. You know.
Okay, not quite, but actually not. I mean, not that far away. I was watching wrestling in like the 90s, and that was
Not
like
helping, bro. You're not helping
yeah.
yourself.
It was like that 90s era, Rey Mysterio Jr. and shit, dude. Those are the good stuff. Yeah, so I didn't know her either. Linda Marie McMahon is the wife of Vince McMahon, the like WWE or whatever, like the
Correct.
wrestling mogul. She's part of the McMahon wrestling empire, and she was a former wrestler. She was a professional wrestler. I was watching clips of her like wrestle. And
Yeah,
I'm just
bro.
like,
And I was sitting here like, what, dude? What kind of fucking dystopian fucking capitalism is this? I don't even know what to like say about this because like, what if you're gonna be like, okay, well, what does she bring to the table when it comes to education?
yeah, that was like the weirdest pick for me.
Nothing.
Literally nothing. I read
Nothing.
somewhere, I'm pulling it up right now. I read somewhere that she was in a classroom for like from 2009 to 2010 for a year. She did something with the classroom. What? I don't know.
Something with the classroom for a year.
Apparently, I'm pulling that up right now. Educational career. There it is.
Well, fuck. Well, that would make you like overly qualified for this job. You couldn't even get the job.
She sat on the board of trustees because she donated $5 million to a university.
So she donated money to university
and
then she
was
sat
on the board, and then so that was in 2023. She had sat on the board of the university for 14 years.
So she bought her way into an educational board.
I thought I saw her. Oh, here we go. For 1 year she was on the board of education for Connecticut.
For 1 year, she's on the
In
board of education
2009.
for Connecticut in 2009. Okay.
That's her only link to like a classroom, is being on the board of education for a state, like the state superintendent board of education. What the fuck,
Damn,
dude?
bro. That family's crazy. I don't even know how the fuck they're getting this much. If Vince was alive, he would literally be like a Secretary of State right now. I guarantee you, because that guy somehow slithers to every single faucet of like consumer products. Somehow, like I just watched a documentary recently on him. Absolutely crazy, dude.
Yeah, this
But,
is wild.
Yeah.
The New York Times said about her pick, quote, With no teaching background or professional experience steering education policy, other than an appointment in 2009 to the Connecticut State Board of Education, where she served for just over a year to lead the education department, an agency he, meaning Trump, has routinely signaled out for elimination in his upcoming term. So yeah, it's just a really bizarre pick.
God damn.
Like, it's just, I mean, this one, like we said last week, this is kind of relevant to me, being an educator. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
because I remember you saying that you were really like
I was waiting to see who
worried
it was. Yeah,
about who the hell is going to be.
I don't know. We'll have to see like what, because like I don't know. We'll really have to see what's going to happen, because like there's no way to know if the Board of Education, or excuse me, if the Department of Education is even going to exist after his term or during, you know.
Listen, knowing that McMahon family
Yeah.
and how corrupt they are and how money hungry, and they don't give a fuck about their workers. Like the wrestlers didn't have insurance, man. They didn't have.
Oh
anything.
yeah,
Like, they
it's
didn't
awful.
have
Yeah.
pension. They didn't have anything. He milked the living fuck out of his workers.
Yeah, they were like
And I
contracted
believe
employees
that-
with like no,
exactly.
no,
They're
like
basically
yeah.
Uber workers.
Yeah.
They're basically Uber workers for the wrestling industry. And so knowing what he did to his workers, I cannot imagine what she's going to do to the Department of Education.
Yeah.
Like, we're already like fucking falling behind in education. We are like we have the lack of funds to many areas in the U.S. For education, and I think what this is going to do is gonna. I think what Trump is going to do in general with all these departments is he's basically trying to prove his point that state departments are inefficient. The amount of bureaucracy that is invested into these departments is going to make them fail, all these public departments, and we need to turn to the private sector. And hence, we're going to start doing charter schools and private schools, and everybody's going to have to pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that looks to be the direction they're heading, or at least
That's
or at least
that's
one
what it's
possible
giving me.
direction. Yeah. Anyway, that's you know, there you go. That's her. Doug Burgum for the Interior, and then there was another guy. I want to talk about the AG pick, but I don't know much about this Doug Burgum guy. That was the
Dude,
the
Mr.
eyebrows, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah,
Just
dude.
put
Put our reaction to his eyebrows right here. Something back in the day. That was like the first
Oh my God.
first Republican presidential debate. What is he, like the governor of South Dakota or something? North
Something
Dakota.
like that.
Yeah. Okay. That's
yeah.
right. That's right. I remember him.
No, dude, this guy's like, I don't know. He gives me almost like I don't know what's going on kind of vibe. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, who's who, but I'm here and I'm present. Give me a job.
And
That's kind of.
I'm not an expert, but Department of the Interior, that's like tribal relations mostly, right? They're the ones who handle treaties and like relations
you're
with
right,
all the
yeah.
different tribal like
Correct.
nations
With
in America.
with the
Yeah, with all the
reservations and everything.
reservations. Yeah. So I
don't
mean,
know.
like that's kind of an important job. Like, you know, well, I mean, it would
Oh,
be.
yeah.
It should be,
Absolutely.
but the Native Americans have continually just kind of been fucked over. So like, I imagine this will just
Well,
continue that trend.
during his reign as governor, I believe they were building pipelines.
Yeah, that was oh yeah, that was the Dakota
Exactly.
pipeline. Yeah, if that was in
And
Dakota.
So I believe this was through his state, and so I mean, yet again, he is allowing these pipelines to be built through his state, from what I remember. But he's supposed to be in charge of things like working with reservations and working with the treaties that were made. It just sounds like he's trying to. They're basically just placing people to do the opposite of what the job is.
Yeah.
Right? Again, to basically self-destruct the government.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
And there's been a bunch of others picks like I'm gonna save or like labor. I don't know who this is. Lori Chavez DeReamer for labor. I don't know who she is.
I did a little bit of research on her.
Treasury Scott Besant. That sounds familiar.
And
Treasury.
honestly, she doesn't seem like a horrible candidate from all the candidates picked by Trump. It says that she has strong support from unions in her district, but lost re-election in November. I don't know what that means. But
she's from
here's some
Oregon,
things to
yeah.
know. Yeah, she's from Oregon.
She's a Republican.
She's a
Congresswoman
clear
from
record
Oregon.
on workers' rights and organized labor issues that blah, 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 the Republicans' usual alliances with business. She was an enthusiastic back of the PRO Act, legislation that would make it easier to unionize on a federal level. The bill, one of the Democratic President Joe Biden's top legislative priorities, passed the House during Biden's first 2 years of office when Democrats controlled the chamber, but it never had a chance of attracting enough Republican senators to reach 60 votes required to avoid a filibuster in the Senate. So she voted for some decently pro-labor acts, so she doesn't look horrible.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, we'll have to see how like crazy MAGA she
yeah,
is, like if she's actually like legit or if she's just like a
correct,
sycophant MAGA.
correct.
And I just looked up Scott Bess. I thought that name sounded familiar, but maybe I'm wrong. The guy for the Treasury Secretary, he's just like a hedge fund manager, so I'm not sure I know him, or at least I don't. His name is ringing a bell, but I can't quite find. I couldn't find any record of me knowing who he was. But what I wanted to talk about was the new Attorney General. Her name is Pam Bondi. She's a Florida lawyer. I think she was a prosecutor in Florida for a while, and she was on Trump's defense team. I think both impeachment trials, or maybe just the first impeachment trial. She's been like a pretty hard, like never what do you stop the steal person. She's like a psychopath of like Trump is a witch hunt out to get Trump. It's just, the elections were all stolen. She still believes in the fraud of the the big lie and all that.
Yeah,
But another stuff she said is that she's kind of like outwardly said, like she said the quiet part out loud, as it were, that like she's going to intentionally and like very aggressively pursue any of the DOJ prosecutors that went after Trump. They're the first on her like targeted list to like throw in jail or to like to go after, to like prosecute for what. I don't know, but like, 'cause, they haven't committed a crime, but it's just a little scary that that's kind of the power of the attorney general. Is
yeah.
like they can basically just like, now we're persecuting political opponents. We're at that stage. We're at that happy fun stage of where we are in the world, where we're now openly admitting to and bragging about persecuting and rounding up political opponents. So that's fun. But also
That'd be absolutely crazy, man. But we're first on the chopping block. I'll tell you what.
yeah. Well, I think
It's
like
gonna be
what's his
interesting.
face, Cohen, not Cohen. Oh, what the fuck? Who was the person who did that whole report? Mueller, the Mueller report.
Yeah,
People
I
like
forgot
that.
all about
I
that.
forgot about
God,
Mueller, dude.
oh,
So what I
God.
was well, the only thing I wanted to add too was that so Marco Rubio didn't back down, so he's still the nominee, presumptive nominee, or at least pending Senate approval for Secretary of State. Matt Gaetz resigned from Congress
Yeah,
amid
I
the
saw
whole,
that.
and we could talk about a little bit about that if you want, like the whole ethics report that was going to be released. If he were to stay in Congress, they would have had to release that ethics report about all of his crimes, and because he resigned, they didn't have to, I guess. Um,
Fucking slide dog.
yeah, and then so like what people were saying was like, oh well, he just wanted to resign from Congress because he was going to be the next AG, and like that's like the first dimension. The second dimension is, well, no, he resigned from Congress because he knew this report was coming out, and he had no intention of being AG, and now he's backed out from the Senate confirmation to be AG. But now what I saw somewhere or heard somewhere, I forget where this came from, people are saying that like, well, this is actually the perfect opportunity because now there's a Senate seat open in Florida because Marco Rubio is leaving his Senate seat to be part of the
Ooh.
federal government. DeSantis is just going to appoint Gaetz, a Florida congressman, to that open seat. And so Gaetz just got
Oh my
a
God.
hefty promotion. I mean, that's got to be what's going to happen, right? I mean, like, surely that'll be the next step is
But
just.
then if he's back in Congress, then don't they have
Well,
like
yeah, but
the
that's a different
approval?
body, right? That's Senate. He's starting over in the Senate, so I think that's different
Well, the
rules.
Senate is still part of the Congress.
Well, sort of, but the House and the Senate have completely different ethics rules and ethics committees and everything. I imagine, like,
Jesus Christ.
you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, they could translate it to this to the Senate and just
Maybe,
have
I don't
it would
know.
just take a longer
Yeah,
period of time.
but my guess is there's probably a bunch of hinky dumb rules that prevent like any kind of overlap. They're supposed to be separate chambers, right? And they do have different floor rules. There's different like motion rules. Like they are essentially two separate bodies with different rules. So like, I wouldn't be
Correct.
surprised
Yeah.
if DeSantis just appoints Gates to fill out the remainder of Rubio's term. I think there's like 4 years left on Rubio's term. It's a 6 year Senate seats are 6 years. So basically,
Oh,
Gates just gets a free promotion.
I mean, I'm not fucking surprised to
Yeah.
be honest with you.
So
He literally is like the definition of like Florida. If you look at his face with those eyebrows, I'm
Florida
just like
man.
this is just
Yeah.
Florida man. I'm looking into the CDC because I know the Trump administration had a lot of objections and a lot of problems with Fauci, and so I'm looking into Dave Weldon, who they're trying to point to the CDC and thinking, okay,
Yeah, Dave Weldon.
what's this guy's deal? And it looks like he's a medical doctor and former lawyer, lawmaker. Sorry, who served in the House representing Florida. The former congressman has been a strong critic of the CDC, especially its vaccine program.
Yeah. and just
Walden
he's
is
just an
championed
anti-vaxxer.
to long debunked notion of thimerosal, a vaccine preservative, is linked to autism.
Oh,
He's a champion.
he's still
He,
peddling that.
mm-hmm.
Nice.
So this guy is a believer that vaccines lead to autism. Is now the head
Of the
of the
CDC.
CD motherfucking C. Holy shit, bro!
Well, you also have another guy who believes vaccines lead to autism, head of the Department of Health and Human Services. So
Yes, and then so we have two psychopaths running our most
like all of
important
our medical
fields,
procedures. Yeah,
our
my
medical departments,
my spouse,
and
who's a doctor, is like also kind of worried. Like she's like, "What the fuck?" Like,
dude,
what kind of?
because if they change around, I don't know whether it's state law or federal law. I'm pretty sure there's state or county laws that are actually mandating whether they have to take a vaccine to go into school in public places or
Yeah,
not.
sure.
Because I know like children have to take certain vaccines.
Yeah,
What if they because they're so fucking crazy with this like autism shit about vaccines and autism. What if they fucking just tell people that they don't have to take vaccines anymore, and fucking polio just starts creeping back
I
into
mean,
our
it's already
normal
coming
daily
back. Like
lives?
polio's coming back.
Yeah, there was like
Tuberculosis is
cases in
coming
New York.
back. Yeah,
What is this? The fucking coal age?
consumption's coming back.
1875.
Melancholy.
My lamp is fucking using whale oil. To
Yeah,
like,
dude.
ew.
Yeah, I mean that's
I
where
got
we're headed.
black
We're getting like what's going to come back:
Holy
diphtheria,
shit,
diphtheria, tuberculosis, polio, all these diseases that like died out in the 20s and 30s and 40s, right?
Oh my god, man, dude! FDR is rolling in his fucking grave right now.
Yeah. It's wild. Yeah. So I mean, I think that's it for Trump picks. I mean, there's a bunch more. We'll stay on top of that. We're going to continue to cover kind of
Maybe
these
next
picks.
episode we'll talk some more.
Yeah, we'll check back in.
Because they're still trying to do the small business, the U.S. Trade Representative.
Yeah, and we didn't mention the
CEA.
lady Denise something who's now a part of agriculture. I didn't have time to really look her up. There's a whole bunch of picks that we kind of have.
I bet you she's fucking like.
I bet you it's just big farm
Big
or
business.
something. Yeah, like some kind
Yeah.
of like rancher or something.
More
Brooke Rollins is her name.
fucking more pesticides, please.
More pesticides, please.
Increase the pesticides.
Well, hold on.
Increase the amount of
That's going to clash with RFK because he's an anti-pesticide guy.
Dude, the entire Trump administration clashes.
Yeah, well, that's what I mentioned. That's what I mentioned last week. Is that like if you look at all of their ideologies, like there's no cohesion here. They're all over the place.
There's not. It's all over, and I think that's the point. Is when you're like creating this.
Wait, hold on.
When you're creating this like multitude of cliches fighting against each other, it's going to cause the government to basically collapse and not work, and then they're going to switch to be like, all right, well, the private sector has to take over. It obviously does better, you know.
Oh,
Kinda
so
bullshit.
Brooke Rollins, who's now head of the agriculture, she's like worse than you could imagine. So she is the
Oh my-
president,
what do you
and
mean?
she's president and CEO of the America First Policy Institute. So that's like that think tank that like all of like the shit comes out of,
God,
like all
the
of these
fucking
like
think
right wing.
tank.
Yeah, and then also hold on,
Christ.
let's listen to this. This is the best sentence I've ever read. I think prior to assuming a role, she was part of Donald Trump's domestic policy council during his last term. Prior to assuming that role, Rollins oversaw the White House Office of American Innovations. Rollins was president and CEO, here's the one, of the Texas Public Policy Foundation, an Austin-based fossil fuels and school voucher supporting
my
think
God.
tank. So it's a think tank dedicated to fossil fuels and school vouchers, which are just like kind of random together. I mean, they're just both Republican talking points, but like it's just very strange. From 2003 to 2018, she ran a the fossil fuel and school voucher think tank. So she's obviously just the worst.
Oh my god.
I'll have to
It's
do
like,
a little more.
It's like, who are we gonna? And she's what's the literal name of the department?
She's the Department of Agriculture.
So the
Yeah,
the
like
person who
overseeing
is at
all
the
of our
head
like
of the Department of Agriculture.
I don't know if the FDA is
He's
under
a
that.
fossil fuel executive.
Well, sort of. She was a part of a
She's
think
a
tank.
think tank
Yeah.
for fossil fuel.
Yeah.
Pro fossil fuel propaganda.
Yeah, so I don't know.
So
if
we're gonna start
is the
spraying
FDA
kerosene
under the
on
Department
our
of
fucking spinach.
Is FDA under the Department of Agriculture? So like
Yes, I
what
believe
all
so.
of our didn't
The United States Department of Agriculture. No, the FDA is
Health and Human
headed by the
Services?
D-
Yeah, that's
God.
the FDA is under RFK Jr. now with it's Health and
Correct.
Human Services. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Because the USDA, the DEA, and the FDA are three separate departments. The three separate bureaucratic departments, or part of.
Wait, what
three
was the
separate-
middle one you said? The
The
U.S.
USDA, the FDA, and the DEA.
DEA. What does the DEA have to do with the FDA?
Department. So when you're when you're dealing with food, it's the Department of Health and drugs. Hold up, here, let me do this. DEA.
Yeah, USDA and FDA.
Drug Enforcement Administration.
Yeah.
And so the Drug Enforcement Administration is also working with medicine.
Oh, I suppose they would have some overlap with with prescription drugs.
They're also
and
working
stuff.
with medicine. They're working with research, like clinical trial research.
Oh, okay. It's
And
yeah.
so
You know
that
what? I guess the FDA and the DEA would have some overlap. That never occurred to me.
And
Yeah.
and then the DA would also have to go through like anything that's being sprayed, like any test article that's being sprayed.
Yeah, I guess I've just been watching too much Breaking Bad and Ozark.
Yeah, it's that they do a lot more stuff than you think.
Yeah. All right. Well, that kind of wraps up domestic stuff. I don't know, unless you have anything else you want to add as far as.
No, I mean, like we went through pretty much the ones that I wanted to talk about, and there's like another 20 people.
Yeah, I mean, you added this graphic here, which is great. It's like 2 pages of like.
I'll try to
faces.
put this graphic up if I have the time.
Yeah.
If you don't see it, I'm sorry, just we're running out of time.
Yeah, there's only a couple people that haven't been. I guess the deputy national security advisor. Oh no, that's been named. It's Alex Wong. There's not a photo there.
Just have a photo.
So everything.
Which is kind of sus.
Non-Senate confirmations are actually all filled out. The only thing missing is small business, U.S. trade rep, and CEA, which I don't know what CEA is.
CEA.
I don't know what that is.
Council of Economic Advisors.
Oh, okay.
Established by Congress in 1946, the Council of Economic Advisors is charged with advising the president on economic policy based on data research, blah, blah, blah. So basically, he's going to stick somebody that's part of a think tank in there.
Yeah, definitely. Some fucking libertarian group.
It's going to be a banker. A banker of some sort.
Some hedge fund manager.